And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Whew. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brutal OST, because we have our next series ready and waiting for us. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Chinese Terran player representing CranKy Gaming, the reigning world champion. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the top left, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Kyor. So we settled on our series, and of course, Kyor vs Oliveira was available to us, so we decided to dive on it. Again, Gumiho vs Honmono is still ongoing, and I would love to follow Nightmare in his run. Would definitely love to follow it, but again, I didn't really want to have too much downtime on the channel, and you know, we had this series available, so hopefully we're able to catch some more Nightmare later on. He did very well for himself, taking down Creator, but now we are here in a very different mirror matchup. In a TvT. Oh, vámonos. Again, give me Nightmares. It's not available yet. But maybe we'll get them later on. Maybe. Here we go. As for now, we're getting into some pretty economic openers. Gas expands, essentially. No double gas openers from either player. With this, we go for a Rax into a CC, ideally on the low ground as well. So some pretty economic openers from both players. Everything is looking quite mirrored for the time being. And yeah, here, what I love here about seeing Oliveira, seeing Kyor as well, I mean, we have quite a lot of Terran representation here this week. I did notice as well that we are lacking a lot of the Zerg players. We're lacking Shin isn't here. Solar isn't here either. Dark, I think Dark is MIA, so Dark may not be here, and DRG did forfeit as well. DRG, there was a walkover, so this event may be very lacking when it comes to the Zerg department, but we're used to it. It's like we're used to it here. These past couple of weeks, we've been getting a lot of TvT finals in the ESL Open Cups, or a lot of TVPs even as well, and it's okay. We're used to it. But the question becomes, who has the stronger Terran v Terran here? I know that TvT has had a bit of a rough reputation over the years. I know a lot of people aren't too fond of, like, you know, siege lines facing off against each other, and, you know, a more slower, methodical, positional based play. And that was accurate for a while, is what I will say. But recently, this year specifically, towards the beginning of the year actually, we have had a shift and we have had a change in TvT. Maybe a lot of it is because we've been casting a lot of Bjorn and Oliveira, but there are some more active styles here in TvT, which is always amazing to see and amazing to watch. What I refer to is Bjorn and Oliveira. They both go for these more bio-heavy compositions, where instead of going for the traditional tank Viking, which is, I imagine, what Kyor is going to be working on, by the way. Instead of going for that, instead you use your Starport, which is Medivacs. You go for a more marine-heavy composition. You go for mass drop play, and you try to outposition, try to out-control, and just like pull your opponent apart instead. It's very high octane. It's very active. We already have our first Medivac on the way. It's a very active style. And when it works, it looks amazing. When it doesn't, it can fall on its face. You know, all it takes is the defending Terran player to keep up with a couple of drops, and they can just completely shut you down, take away any momentum that you would have had, and just make it so difficult for you to come back, and you have to rely on doom drops at that point and going for these Hail Mary plays. It can look a little bit desperate at times. But we'll see what kind of dynamic we get. We can have, well, we do see Kyor back at home going for his Raven opener into Disable, into Interference Matrix. Again, very standard stuff in current TvT, with that new upgrade, of course, or with the change to the Raven. Interference Matrix is a big part of TvT nowadays, and we're just building up a Hellion and Cyclone army here to defend in the early game. We're not going mass Cyclone, don't get this too confused here. We're getting a third CC on location. Very fast third, actually, from Kyor. Very greedy, as here comes that drop from Oliveira. Getting into the natural base, getting 2 SCVs, and get the hell out of there. Not a bad start, but again, this third is insanely greedy from Kyor. Oliveira is going for his own third base, but it's in the main base, as Kyor's is on location. Oh, the intercept! Oh my god. As Oliveira does get the hell out of there. Cyclone's barely not able to catch Oliveira, as he does pivot away, does back off. And Kyor is getting in position. Still just building up that Cyclone count. Additional Rexes are being thrown down. Stim is on the way as Oliveira is working on this push. Now, what's important is that Oliveira, he killed a couple of workers. His drop was deterred, but he didn't lose anything. Didn't lose any of his units. Pushing up the ramp. Oh, he does come across those Cyclones. So far, good tank flows, but the disable goes off. The tank is disabled. We dive on top of it, and Curie's going to completely shut this down. Rushing into the Ravens, rushing into Interference Matrix, more than paid off, and now Oliveira's on the back foot. He's racing back home, and what do we have to work with? We have one tank on the low ground, no tank on the high ground. We have a couple of Vikings to zone away those Ravens, but one disable is all it takes, and we barely do not have the energy for it. We do now. One disable, we can dive on this tank, and that's exactly what we go for. And Oliveira, he has to pull the boys. A good drop control. The Metamax. Dropping and picking up those Vikings, barely keeping them alive, breaking the lock-ons, and Oliveira will hold. Very nice control here from our Terran player. Just again, breaking those lock-ons, keeping those Vikings alive, and now we are just not slowing down. And again, this is what I love out of Oliveira, but oh god, be careful. This is what I love out of Oliveira, just non-stop aggression from our red Terran player. One push gets deflected and gets shut down, and another soon rises to take its place. We barely even have anything with this. It's two tanks. Two tanks and some Vikings, but hey, we can take down a gas geyser. We can take one down. Getting within range. Vikings gonna be landing as well. And Oliveira is playing mech. That is a second factory and a third factory on the way. I was hyping up and talking about how Oliveira goes for this like drop heavy composition, but no, he's playing mech, a very aggressive form of mech. To be fair, it's very in the face of Cure. We get 4 SCVs, we get a gas geyser. We're looking for a medevac, we will get one. Not losing anything for it. Good pickups here from Oliveira, as he does pick up and get the hell out of there. Doesn't want to overextend, as Cure instead is the one going for, you know, more of a bio heavy composition compared to Oliveira. Here we go. Cure is going to be pushing. Oliveira getting in position. We have a wall of tanks. Cure, he cannot find a way in. Not this way, at least. And going for a drop play is going to be difficult because we have so many Vikings. We have the air control. We have a Rax, of course, floating here towards the dead space. Cure having a hard time finding a way in, getting a 4cc on location. And Oliveira is just walling off. We got tanks, we got Liberators, we have sensor towers and missile turrets as well. A bit of everything here for Oliveira. He's got Vikings split up to defend against the drop into the natural. We have Vikings here towards the south as well. So just a very fortified position here for Oliveira. And Cure, he tries to find a way in, but alas, cannot. But I love this. Okay, so a couple of things. Cure is transitioning. That is 3 starports. That's 2 starports in production, 1 already done. Reactors are on the way, and Cure, he's going to be investing quite a lot here into quote-unquote Sky Terran. +1 ship weapons is on the way. Basically, the goal here is for Cure to take control of the air with Mass Viking, and then get into Liberators from that point. Fusion cores on the way for Lib range. So it's one of those things where in TvT, tanks, they reign supreme for a while. But really, it's not about tanks, it's about air control, because if you take control of the air, then your tanks don't mean anything because they don't have the range to actually fire away at your army. On top of that, tanks do nothing against Liberators, so Viking Lib beats Viking Tank any day. And that can also lead into, eventually, BCs. So we're kind of shifting away from the ground and shifting towards the skies, at least Cure is. Oliveira doesn't know. He does have a good Viking count because of the early game, but he is stopping Viking production because there's no need. He already has control. He knows that. He's like, I can now focus my attention on Hellions, on tanks. Little does he know that Cure is going to be amassing Vikings back at home. Again, Lib range in production. Cure getting his 4th up and running. Oliveira not too far behind, now getting his own 4th. Both players up to 80 workers. Sensor towers are finishing up. And right now, Cure doesn't really care. Like, Cure, he's not really concerned with denying bases or pushing in. I know that Oliveira, he's walling off and he's got an insane siege line just covering everything. This is true. But Cure, always, we have a scan. Uh-oh, and we see. Big scan here from Oliveira. He does see the additional starports. He sees the fusion core researching. He's aware, and immediately, Thors. Thors are on the way. Viking production recommences here for Oliveira. He now realizes what's going on, and he has to hyperfixate on anti-air. Now, the Thors complicate things, because Thors, they do a lot of splash damage to Vikings. They do an insane amount of Vikings. They do stack, so you have to be very careful with them. Likewise, they are an alternate solution to Liberators. Not amazing, but they can work, they can help, and it's all that Oliveira has to rely on. So again, it's going to be all about that anti-air, making 3 Thors at a time. Aliens, they do catch the army. Cure trying to move out. Cure trying to be as active as he can. So far, he doesn't quite find a way in. Not yet. We have +2 ship weapons on the way. I think what's also important to bear in mind is that we do not have any air upgrades for Oliveira. He's hyperfixated on vehicle weapons, not ship weapons. Which means his Vikings are just going to be worse. Looking at the unit count, we have 14 Vikings for Oliveira against the 20 of Cure. Aliens, they come in for a counterattack. We do get a couple of SCVs. Cure is going to try to keep up. And both armies are maxing out. How many Vikings? 23. We're about to... Oh my god, we're about to have 28 Vikings here for Cure. Just pure Viking at this point. The goal here again, after the first fight, basically Cure, he takes control of the air. He cleans up all the Vikings. Then he can get into Liberators. Doesn't want to get into them too soon. Meanwhile, Oliveira, he's slowly encroaching on the map, taking a 5th base, throwing down a wall of turrets. So far, good disables. 2 tanks go down. It's going to be a kill, not a cancel on the CC. Army's going to clash. Big anti-armor missile here on the army. Oh my god. There it is. After a little skirmish, now Liberators are on the way. Now Libs are coming out for Cure. He's up to 29 Vikings against the 17 of Oliveira. Obviously, another big thing is the Raven as well. Anti-armor missile will completely change the way a fight turns out. And Cure, he's just waiting for his round of Liberators before he pushes out again. Meanwhile, Oliveira, he needs turrets. He straight up, he needs turrets because that Liberator army is about to rock up, and he needs to somehow support his Thors. His Thors, his tanks, everything else. Additional starports are finally on the way for Oliveira. Fusion core as well. It looks like Oliveira, he has recognized that, again, it's all about the air. That's why we have those starports finishing up. Oh my god, Oliveira, crazy. Okay, so these starports, they don't have reactors, they have tech labs. Fusion core, Yamato's on the way. Oliveira, he wants to try to get into BCs. Now, BCs, they are like the ultra late game TvT unit. That's kind of what both players want to work towards. But Cure has a more seamless transition into BCs. He has +3 ship weapons on the way. Meanwhile, Oliveira has 0. +0 even. With all these Vikings, again, he's going to have plenty of support for his BCs as well, if Cure heads in that direction. For now, doesn't have any tech labs, so can't actually make BCs yet. I'm sure he's content with his mass Viking for now. Liberators rock up, they're going to get a couple of tanks for free. And 1 tank does go down. Oliveira trying to deny and actually even take some of the bases of Cure. Oh my god. Just setting up turrets, planetaries, just cutting off some parts of the map here from Cure. This Cure is going to be rotating around. Hellbat drop coming in. Going to get some SCVs. doesn't care. He'll be pushing on forward, slowly laying siege upon the stack defense. Meanwhile, the Hellbat's getting damage done. Oh no. They get 12, not too bad, 12 workers. 12 workers across the map. Alright, how many Vikings? 31 Vikings against 24. Again, Cure, he does have better upgrades overall, but we have the Thors to support. And here we go, big anti-armor missile on both armies. They will bounce off each other. They don't want to commit. No, we're going in. They do trade. Cure maintaining his Viking lead. The Thors, they just weren't able to close that distance. They weren't able to push in. The tank was left behind. The Raven. A couple of rough losses there. How many Ravens do we have left? Ooh, none. So both players just lost their Ravens. So no more anti-armor missile. BC production has commenced here for Oliveira. Bold move. Part of me is a little bit concerned as we can keep pushing. We're going straight for the tank. The Marines and Marauders here are catching some re-units. Not too bad. Even the Marines going ham on the Vikings, forcing them to land. They land so quickly. Oh my god. Smart servers, it's cracked. What was I saying? Oh yeah, PCs are going to be on the way. So far unscouted by Oliveira. Sorry, by Cure. He's not aware. +1 ship weapons just finished up for Oliveira. He's catching up with those upgrades. The Thors, they haven't been able to add too much to these fights yet. They just haven't been close enough. But we're getting there. It's only 3 Marauders, but they're getting work done. Nia still frames, has a auto tracking. Oh, that CC is gonna burn down. And no saving that base. The battle cruisers, they will reveal themselves. And that's forcing Cure to react, forcing him to turn all the way around. It takes a while. It does take a while to rotate over, and as a result, Oliveira, he can push in. Cure just being forced out of position. And these BCs, they can just teleport away. They teleport to the main army. Now, in a head-to-head fight, I still want to give the edge to Cure. I do want to give him the edge. But I also would love to see an add-on swap here and start getting ready for BCs as well. Until then, though, Oliveira, he's just got more starports on the way. Cure trying to rotate around, trying to find a way in. CVs are going to be going down. Some Lib harass here towards the south. 10 workers. We're pushing in. Up. It's Eastern Liberation zones, but oh my god, the anti-armor still is real. And Oliveira, he is breaking through. God, the Ravens are real MVP. The BCs are focused down. But Cure, he has to back off. Does get some big volleys off. Bit of miscontrol out of Oliveira. As the dust settles, Cure still maintains his Viking lead. Did lose every single Liberator though. We basically, Cure lost all of his Libs. Oliveira lost all of his BCs. There it is. There are the Ravens on the way. If you recall, that's something that Cure was lacking in his army, but now he's adding. He's getting back into that. Oliveira, he's catching up in those ship weapons. +2. +2 on the way. He's slowly catching up in the quality of the army. Cure looking for another way in. Oliveira still on 1 BC. He's got 2 more on the way. Cure's gaining ground. Gets on some of these turrets. Zones away the army. Gets a CC as well. Looking to. Big anti-armor missile. That's going to be zoning back the army of Oliveira. He cannot engage, and that means that's a base going down. We could even try and get the planetary as well. And Oliveira, he has to give it up. He just can't engage. He cannot engage. Not like this. Viking's going to be landing. Planetary goes down. Again, that anti-armor missile just lasts for so long. At the same time, BCs go for their own counterattack. Oliveira may have lost the base, but Cure, he may lose one as well. The Armados go off. Cure, nowhere near this base, and the planetary is going to fall, or at least his SCVs. And yeah, the planetary will be focused down. Vikings are on the way. Can we teleport out in time? Oh. Disables 1 second too late. We teleport towards the top right. We're looking to get another base. Another BC. One goes down. Yeah, we're trading another base for another base here. Cure going to be losing a planetary. Oliveira going to be losing an orbital. Both players going blow for blow. Both players have a decent bank as well. Cure has a larger mineral bank and even gas bank though. There it is, +3 ship weapons. Oliveira, he's about to catch up. He's about to even up those upgrades. Speaking of, we have 38 Vikings for Cure, about to be 40. That's just 38 against the 33 of Oliveira. Cure for now maintains that upgrade lead, but that's soon about to leave him. Have additional battle cruisers on the way. Do we have any Ravens? We have 10. Oh my god. We have 10 Ravens for Cure. I'm worried that that's too many. I am quite concerned, especially because like the biggest spell is going to be anti-armor missile. I guess maybe interference matrix on the BCs, or even Thor's. That could be huge. Cure, he has the Viking lead. He has the Raven lead. Oliveira, what he lacks in Vikings and Ravens, he makes up for in Thors and BCs. Yeah, he's only down a handful of Vikings as well. Both armies just trying to get these final bases. Still marauding around with his army, looking for a way in, constantly scanning, trying to figure out what's going on. BC, I think this is another big reason why BCs are so good in the late game, is because they can do this. They can just fly around, they can just pick off bases and just teleport across the map. Like, it's crazy. It's quite powerful here, and Oliveira has been doing a great job at just denying bases whenever he can, forcing Cure out of position. Speaking of, there's no planetary here. No planetary. 9 SCVs go down. Oliveira, he's down to 17 workers. He's out of money. I just realized Oliveira does not have a mineral bank. We are muling heavily here, but this is a little bit dangerous. Cure, he's winning this battle of attrition. Cure has a 7k mineral bank. He can trade, he can fight, he can replace. Oliveira cannot. A part of me believes that it's okay to have a low SCV count because we don't have that many bases to mine from, and it means you have a larger army. This is all true. Like, Oliveira, look at the size of his army. This is why I was shocked before. He has he's up 40 army supply. It's crazy. But it's one and done. It's one and done for Oliveira. If he loses the fight, he won't be able to replace it. Oliveira, he has an on-par Viking count, has so much more to work with here when it comes to when it comes to Thors and battle cruisers. Here we go, we're committing. Disables on the BCs, big anti-armor missile on both armies as well. The Armados are going off, and Oliveira, he's just being bullied back. The auto turrets, the disables were just far too much. The spellcast is going ham. Cure overextending a little bit. He has to back off. does have to retreat, and this is what I was worried about because Cure can remax and Oliveira cannot. As Oliveira does force back Cure's army. Mortar zoning him away. And Oliveira's broke. He's straight up. He's just broke. And Cure, he's burning through his mineral bank. Rebuilding, remaxing. More Vikings, Marauders, Marines on the way. And Oliveira's, he's hurting. The reality is that Cure is going to max out first. He's already at 180 supply. He's about to hit 200. He's going to push again. And Oliveira just can't keep up. Now, hopefully Cure pushes again. If he waits, then Oliveira will remax. If he waits a little bit too long, then Oliveira, he's going to be able to slowly catch up in army supply and have another big fight. But again, the BC count was reset. The disabled, like, clearly the Ravens came in clutch. They disabled almost every single battlecruiser. They just added nothing to the fight. Here we go. Curious Max, he's up 70 supply. Pushing into tanks is going to be difficult. Yes, respect them. See Oliveira, he's just turtling up here. On the high ground. Cure going to pivot around. Yeah, he is just giving, or I mean, Oliveira, he is just buying a little time here to rebuild, to remax. You have a couple of disables, and we're going straight for the planetary, the most important mining base of Oliveira. Tank is going to go down. Oliveira, he's not quite pulling the trigger. Now up 40 supply. You can see Oliveira, he's slowly catching up. He's getting there. I feel like at least our Liberators can go ham on this base, right? Yeah, okay. Liberator sieges. No mining whatsoever. We have a Marine Marauder army getting ready for a counterattack, actually. Sensor tower's going down first, and here comes the rest of the army. The Liberator's getting within range. Vikings, they turn back around to defend. And Cure, he's just looking to pull Oliveira apart. Gets on top of some of the CCs. Takes another anti-armor missile to the face. These aren't the most important bases here, but you know, we're gaining ground. And Oliveira, he's on the back foot. He has a comparable army now to his opponent. He could win a fight. Especially now with a more Raven-heavy composition. He's going in! Oh, the libs, they're exposed. And they're all going to go down one after the other. Big pick up here from Oliveira. At the same time, he's losing bases. Oh, there's actually minerals here. Uh-oh. This is not mined out. There's value in this base, and it does go down. In general, we still have a couple of patches here and there for Oliveira. Like, he's broke because of his lack of workers, not because of the lack of mineral patches available to him. And SCVs are going down. We land the Vikings. This planetary will fall. Cure, so patient. You can see he was just waiting for the moment when Oliveira was actually completely out of position, just securely sniping bases over and over again. Just very safe play here from Cure, and it's working. Like, because it's slow and steady, like, it's giving Oliveira the chance to max out. That's true, but at the same time, he's also just picking away at his economy, picking away at his army, and Cure still maintains a lead. And now Oliveira, earlier I was talking about his lack of mineral bank. Now he is running out of gas as well. Just his bank in general is non-existent. He's out of money. He's going to be coming in. Once again, big anti-armor missiles. Auto turrets are thrown down from both players. Oliveira, he has the better concave. He's going to be forcing this army back. But at the same time, the bio army goes straight for the main. We're camping the production. I mean, we don't have money to produce anything. So, but regardless, the production is under threat. We're going for the starports. Going for whatever we can, and Oliveira has to respond. We can even get the fusion core. No more BCs. I mean, we weren't making any anyway. But our cruisers were not in production. Yeah, we're going for the starports. Buying a lot of time here for Cure to rebuild his army. We scan. We see a lone tank. The tank is going to go down. The base as well. Doesn't take too many volleys at all. And this entire time, Cure, he's just been starved out. He's just broke. Sorry, Cure? Sorry, Oliveira. Oliveira's just been starved out. He's just broke. Has no mining left. This is his economy. Couple of mineral patches. He's going for his own counterattack. Again, Oliveira, he does have a pretty hefty army with these tanks and Thors. Unistab, he's quite far behind in the Viking count. Raven count is pretty comparable. And he's slowly gaining ground here, encroaching on this base, but Curie takes one of Oliveira's bases. Muling the hell out of it. This big anti-armor missile, oh my god, it covers everything, almost everything. Again, Vikings, they do clump up. Liberators are sieging, they get a tank, they get 2 tanks. Cure is maxed. He doesn't want to just A move though, he doesn't want to throw this away. As we get another tank as well, just unit after unit falling. Meticulously picking apart the army of Oliveira, 1 unit at a time. Scans are thrown down. God, that's a lot of Vikings. That's a lot of Vikings, man. And we're diving in. Oh my god. We're diving in for a moment. Meanwhile, when it comes to our bank, again, we're just running out of gas geysers. He doesn't know Oliveira, he's checking, and now he sees the mining of Cure. Oliveira rotating around. He's going to be spotted.
Mineral field depleted.
This orbital is going to fall. They're going to try and catch this army. Yeah, there aren't any tanks anymore, and yeah, we're just going for it. We commit. We take a big anti-armor missile to the face. Oh my god! And with that, Oliveira, this is going to be his final fight here. GG gets called. He runs out of steam, and Cure will take it. He'll take game number 1. That was only game 1, by the way. Ay. GG. GG, well played, and what a game at that. We had Oliveira initially being hyper aggressive, very in the face of Cure, getting into mech, but as he was getting into mech, Cure was so quick to go into Sky Terran, to rush into Mass Viking, to rush into Mass Liberator as well. He did have the superior army, and yeah, was able to eventually snowball out of control, was able to pick apart the army of his opponent. I did like the initial BCs from from Oliveira. He was doing a lot with them. He was getting a lot of harassing damage done. But when it came to these big fights, because of all of those Ravens, the BCs actually didn't really add a lot to it. They didn't really add much complexity to the army because they were completely shut down by those disables. And things very quickly went in favor of Cure. On top of that, I should also emphasize as well that Oliveira made the choice to stay on a very low worker count. He was intentionally not reproducing his SCVs, and he was going for a super maxed army. What does that mean? It means that he's at 200 supply with only like 20 supply worth of SCVs. So he's keeping his SCV count low, going for a massive army, and this is just a very all-in way of playing, a very committed play style. And again, it meant that like one bad fight means that you can't remax, and that's exactly what we saw. Took a rough fight with his battle cruisers, lost them all, and then Cure was in control from that moment. GG, and with that, we're getting into our next game, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Alkione, we have the Chinese Terran player representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. It is Oliveira. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Cure. Here we go. See Mega Whack in chat. Oliveira's so tempo based. When it works, it looks so good. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even Oliveira playing mech in that last game was very much so, like at a high pace against Cure, and he was doing well for himself. He was doing well. As for now, we're getting into some very different openers this time. As a reminder, to wind the clock back to game number 1, we did have, to wind it back to game 1, we did have economic openers. Rax expands, 1 gas in game 1. Here in game 2, double gas openers all around. So a much more aggressive play style. This does mean faster factories for both players. It means delayed expansions. They could also be assuming that the other would go for a proxy. After a 35-minute game, that makes sense. It is very common after a long macro game for a player to go for a proxy 2-rax, for example. So both players are reading that, and they're both going to be able to shut it down if that were the case. Of course, there is no proxy 2-rax, so yeah, both players just happen to be mirroring each other. Cure scouting the edges of the map, of his side of the map, making sure everything's on the up and up. Likewise, so is Oliveira. As Reaper does dive in, bypasses the Reaper of his opponent. Risky move here from Oliveira. Will delay the CC for a second or two before getting out of there. So typically a rule here in TvT is that it is illegal. It is illegal to send your first Reaper across the map just because you can lose it and then lose the game straight away, essentially because things snowball very quickly out of control. Oliveira does keep his Reaper alive, does manage to make it back home, and he's safe and sound. Is going to be safe. Behind this, we're getting into our 1-1-1s, natural bases on location, on the low ground. And yeah, for now, we're just getting into our Cyclones, Hellions, and Reapers for early game aggression. As Oliveira is pushing out, vying for control of the Zelnaga. Starports are on the way, and I'm curious if we're going to be seeing an add-on swap here. It looks like we should from Oliveira. This could lead into early game Ravens or an early Banshee. Never mind, we don't add-on swap, we're just going to be making it here on that Starport. So Oliveira being a little bit more tech heavy. Meanwhile, Cure is going for a drop. Medevac is on the way. No add-on swap required. Cyclones in production as well. A very aggressive opener here from Cure. He's going to be looking to push out with his Cyclones Marines with everything he has. Meanwhile, back at home, Oliveira is going to be the defender. He'll have a tank. He'll have a Raven. The Raven grants access to a defensive auto turret as well. We'll see if he can keep up. So here we go. Cyclones are on the way. So we have a drop on the right-hand side. At the same time, I believe this army should be looking to take control of the Zelnaga. For now, though, we're chilling back at home. We don't want to overextend. Last thing we want is to push out, and then a drop comes in from your opponent, and you're just left with your pants down. As the drop does slip into the main base, is going to get a couple of SCVs. 3 SCVs. Oh my god! 4 SCVs go down. We even get some damage done on the Raven as well. And this is getting a bit out of hand. We should be able to escape. 5 workers, 4 Marines as well. Ay, ay, ay. And we're coming back in. There's a tank in position though, so yeah, we're gonna have to calm down a little bit. Oof. So we take a tank shot to the face. Third CC is thrown down for both Oliveira and for Cure as well. Cure's is on location. Again, Cure has map control because of this marauding army. Cyclones are coming back in. Oliveira is stuck at home, so Cure, he knows he's safe to pull this off and to get his base on location. Scan ahead of time does reveal the army. Means that the Cyclone can't really get much done. Maybe we can pick away at the depot, if that. As Oliveira is going for a counterattack. Cure's army is out on the map. He has, okay, 2 Cyclones back at home. They are softened up. 2 SCVs go down. Cure is getting ready for his own drop as well. For now, though, the game is going to be settling. This time, Oliveira is not playing mech. He's going Biotank. So is Cure. Biotank all around. And we are just settling into our 3-base setup. Up. We're getting into our upgrades. Oliveira, his current goal here is to establish his 3rd base. Cure is in position to delay the 3rd for as long as he can. Doesn't quite get anything. Has to retreat. Has to respect the tank army. Up. And we are going to be able to at least shut down the Reapers. And Oliveira, he is not slowing down. He's continuing to push. At the same time, here comes the drop. Cure with the backstab. He gets 4 more SCVs. And Oliveira, he turns everything back around. For a moment there, I thought we were going to get Stim. Stim will survive. Raven's taking a lot of hits as well, and Cure is going to have to resolve the Raven! No, he gets 1! Oh my god, loses the Cyclone in the process. He wants that other Raven! Getting a little bit greedy here, but 7 workers, 1 Raven for 1 Cyclone. Well worth it here for Cure. Ay, 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 that was huge. Especially considering that we did invest into Interference Matrix as well. But here we go, Oliveira is still pushing. Looking at the units tab, Oliveira, he is up in tanks. We have 5 tanks to the 2 of Cure. But the tank count doesn't really matter when we talk about Ravens. Of course, they can disable those tanks. They can even things up. Cyclones do go down. We're diving in. Big disables covering almost every single tank. And Oliveira is going to lose everything. GG gets called, and Cure cleans him up, taking the series 2-0, taking down Oliveira. GG. GG, well played. A very aggressive style here at a Cure. Oh my god. Very aggressive here, just constantly just dropping, harassing, pulling Oliveira apart, pulling him back home at times, and yeah, was just too much. Took an economic lead. Oliveira felt committed to, or felt the pressure to push out, to move out, and was shut down in the middle of the map. GG, well played. Cure will advance on into the next round, into the semifinals.